Hey guys, what's up? I'm Adrian. Welcome to episode 29 of Careers Are Weird. I am joined by the chart buddy boss himself, Tim Van Schaick. Tim, what's up?
Hey, Andrea. So nice to be here. And such a nice intro, the chart buddy boss. I haven't been
Chart
calling
buddy
myself
boss.
that yet, but maybe I should.
Yeah, no, you should hashtag that. Hashtag chart buddy boss in all of your LinkedIn posts going
Yeah,
forward. I
yeah,
think
yeah,
it'd be really fun.
yeah.
So, guys, before we jump into how this master's in econometrics, because he's smart like that, founded a chart software, please follow Careers Are Weird on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star rating. Or if you're listening on YouTube, please subscribe and give this episode a thumbs up. So, chart buddy boss,
hmm
tell the people, what do you do for work?
Right. So, actually, I used to work for a big consulting company, and then I quit that at some point, and I decided that sort of my teenage love back in the day was always programming, but then I never really did that at some point anymore. So I studied econometrics and philosophy in college. Then I went to do this big four consulting company. But then I realized, okay, before I really, there's like no other path anymore in my life. I want to start being an entrepreneur and I want to program something myself. So I quit, and now I started Chartbuddy, which is a tool for consultants. It helps them make graphs in Google Slides and Canva, or business analysts also for. And yeah, I've been building that for 4 months now, put it out last month. And yeah, I've basically pivoted to being an entrepreneur now.
So you are founder of Chartbuddy, which is just making charts in Google Slides and Canva.
Yeah, basically. So there's another company, and like yeah, the consulting people will know it. They will know that it's terrible to build charts in some software like PowerPoint or Google Slides, and typically extensions are used for that. So one extension in PowerPoint is called ThinkCell, and I figured, okay, let's do that same value proposition in Google Slides.
Yeah, I hate. So I have a consulting background. My
Yeah,
very first job was in a small consultancy. So I unfortunately have a deep and intimate relationship with
yeah.
PowerPoints and making charts, right? But then my current company uses Google Workspace. So now everything's in Google Slides. And
Mhm.
I swear to God, I hate my life every
Yeah,
time I have
yeah,
to
yeah.
do something.
And so that friction, that is what I'm trying to resolve. Like, you can use it. Please do.
I know I'm going to download it because we use Google Workspace and I cannot stand it. And I have a data analyst on my team, and he hates himself with Google Sheets as well. Like Google Workspace is terrifying.
Yeah,
So that's really cool what you've built there.
thanks, thanks.
Oh my god. So you've got no you said you have no programming background, but you've built a software? How does that work?
Yeah, yeah.
What do you
So
do?
I kind of always liked programming. You know, at some point in my consulting career, I was not following the consulting memes on Instagram anymore, but I was following the developer memes because I thought it was always so interesting. And at some point, I realized, okay, that's what I want to do. So then I started last year in March to do courses online, like just in the evening hours. It was a bit demanding because you have to do that after your full time consulting job. And then actually, I realized that my brother he's got a software company. So I asked him, can I basically be on your company for a couple of months, just as like a glorified intern with the purpose of learning a lot. So right after I quit my consulting job, I joined him, and there I got to learn everything, got to look at everything. And then after 3 months, I quit that too because I thought, okay, I need to go on to my next thing, and I'm just gonna build. And I wasn't good enough yet. Um, but as soon as you start building, you get better. So yeah, just put yourself out there, burn for your savings. That like when you burn for your savings and you see that go lower every month, it's a very good incentive to build harder. And yeah, just go from there.
There's so many like things I want to pull out of that. Number one, like you're just like when you start building, you just start getting better, which is the amount of people who will write things down like I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and they do so much planning and no building.
hmm
You don't realize how much better you improve at just by building. So that's like one thing just for the careers or word fam. But then also How brave and bold of you to just like, I'm going to quit my full time job to be an intern.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, especially because like I barely get any money for being an intern, like not a lot, and my full time job was quite well paid. So yeah, there was definitely a risk there, but it's what I really wanted to do. And I figured, okay, as soon as I go on in the consulting company, I'll be a manager at some point, and then to start an entrepreneurial journey, you're going to an even lower salary. Like the delta between your salary and what you get after is just going to be higher in the future. So I figured that this was the best moment. I don't have a mortgage, I don't have kids, to just get started.
No, that it's something that so many people just need to hear, because there's so many people who are in these really well paid jobs. They don't like what they're doing. And the only way for them to pivot is to take a step back, go back to internship just to go forward
Yep.
again. And they're so scared of that stepping back. And like, I think what you've done is like, that's amazing. It's so brave. It's so cool. So I'm
Thanks.
really happy for
Thanks.
you.
That's so sweet. Yeah.
So now that you've built Chartbuddy and you're still building and constantly improving it, and well, you are a founder,
Hmm.
what is a day in the life of this new role of yours? What do you do? What do you wake up and do?
Yeah. So it's actually I am actually also a freelance consultant. So at some point, people also ask me to do some software development for them. So I do freelance software development as well. And basically, every day is kind of the same. I get up and then I make myself an oatmeal. Then I do a small workout, like either yoga or just some weightlifting, and then I get to work. And the really nice thing is, like compared to my previous job, in my previous job, I would have all these meetings and like the company stuff and all of that. And now I just don't have that anymore. Like 90% of my time, I just build something. Like I write actual code or I create marketing content. Um, and that is such a relief because you can really focus on, yeah, what needs to be done rather than all the corporate slack around it. And yeah, let's see what else. Oh yeah, I didn't tell you yet, but I sometimes work from home, but I've also met a lot of other entrepreneurs, and sometimes they invite me to just come work with them. So I do that about 2 3 days a week. Sometimes at my brother's, sometimes at Tom's, sometimes at an AI consultancy called Edami. And so we kind of all sit together with other entrepreneurs, share ideas, and collaborate and work in those collaborative spaces. Um, and that has also been really really great because it's like when you're among all these builders, everybody gives each other ideas and they just go, wow, but do you not want to do this and do you want to do that? Yeah, that's been really infusing me as well.
That's really cool, because I think, yeah, one of the hard parts about going off on your own is you lose that sense of almost community, because when you go into your office at your big consulting firm, there are a lot of people. You can have your coffee and talk to somebody
Yeah,
else if you
yeah,
want
yeah,
to, but when you're working alone, you don't get that. So I'm really glad you found that community. Is that something you actively pursued
yeah.
and looked for, or did someone invite you to one? How did that happen?
No, definitely. Like it was like I need a lot of social contact in order for my brain to just stay healthy. So that was basically one of the major risks that I wrote down at the start of this whole journey. Like I don't want to be lonely. So I actively reached out, and then everyone was super supportive, saying, "Hey, no, come sit with us, come sit with us." So that happened because of that, and that has been a major relief. Like I'm so happy that that happened.
That's really cool. So is there is you're in Amsterdam, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a massive, I guess, a tech entrepreneurs hub? Is that a big hub there in Amsterdam?
Um, it's not like major, but it's definitely present. Like you've got some big tech companies like Adyen or Picnic, but they're not like the biggest global companies here. But Amsterdam is a big city, so there's quite some people going into entrepreneurship. Yeah, it's definitely present. Yeah.
Cool. No, I never really associated Amsterdam with a massive tech hub,
No,
but there you are.
people associate it with other stuff mostly.
Yeah. Just the healthy things, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah,
So, okay, so let's rewind all the way back, because, I met you in
yeah.
2017 when we were still in doing our undergrad at university
Mhm.
in our semester abroad. From that semester there, you graduated. Well, we both graduated our undergrads, and then you went on to do your masters, to do your first job. Like,
Yeah.
what was your first job?
Yeah, so funny thing, actually, when I graduated, so I was applying for all these big consultancy companies, and I had one offer down, and I was still going to go to all the other offices, was in some second rounds, was still in some first rounds, and then no, COVID hit. So then all the other job interviews, they got canceled, and the offer I had, which was at the company that I later worked at, they said, yeah, the offer still stands, but we don't know when you can start. Like, it could be the end of the year, could be the start of next year. We don't really know. So that was terrible, because then I was without an income. I was not eligible for student financing anymore. You always had to stay inside, but I couldn't really afford my rent anymore. So then I went back to live with my parents, and then yeah, see from there. And then I applied for tech companies, because tech was still recruiting. And then it was really interesting, because at some point I got a job offer in tech at SendCloud in the south of the Netherlands. And at the very day that I wanted to cancel that standing consulting offer, of which the start date wasn't available, that consulting company asked me, and they called me, and they said, yeah, do you want to start in 3 months from now? So I had one job starting in the next week and one job starting 3 months from now. And I didn't really know what I wanted to do anymore. Like, be a business analyst at this tech company, or start in 3 months in consulting, which I had always anticipated I wanted to do. And then I reached out to the tech company, and I just played it open with them, saying, hey, this is how I feel. I really like you guys. I also really like that other job. And then I got the great opportunity to um, work there for 3 months. And they said, if you don't like it, or if you prefer working there, then after 3 months you can leave, and there's no hard feelings. And that's what ended up happening. So I worked for 3 months at SendCloud, and then I switched to my consulting job.
Wow. Look at that. I mean, fair play to you for just being open with them. And they're just like, yeah, cool. Just, I guess the thing is, they needed somebody. So if you're going to give them 3 months of labor, then have at it. And
Yeah,
then you got all the
yeah,
experience.
yeah, and it was a super nice company and a really nice experience. So I'm so happy I played it open and wasn't like, yeah, like, not showing the back of my tongue. Not sure if that's an English expression as well. Uh, but
We get it.
yeah, 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 and like, I was just honest about it, and that worked out. So that was a big lesson for me there as well. Yeah,
So, okay, you studied, what was it? Econometrics and what?
and philosophy. So yeah, I kind of wanted to do more undergraduate stuff, because I really like studying. So at some point I did an extra major in philosophy, and I also did an extra exchange in business, which is where I met you. So basically I got way more credits than I should have for undergraduate, but I just really enjoyed that phase of my life. So I did more. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm just like, how did he end up in tech from philosophy? Like, what? How did you even apply for tech?
Yeah, so the tech people, they are more happy that I did econometrics than that I did philosophy. They don't really care about the philosophy, but they do think like, oh, that's interesting. You can also do that other part with words and all of that. Like, they do think it's cool, but they definitely probably wouldn't hire you if you just did philosophy. Yeah,
Okay. So 3 months in a tech company,
hmm,
and then you went into your consulting
yeah,
company. What was a day in the life of your, I guess, your first consulting role? You're still fairly young,
yeah.
only 3 months experience. How was that going for you?
Um, right. So actually, there's two experiences there. So the first one was working from home with COVID, and that was frankly quite lonely, because yeah, like, you're kind of young, you're still quite insecure about the way you perform your job. You don't really know how to do it, and you're just alone sitting in your small Amsterdam apartment. Um, so yeah, there were definitely times that I didn't really enjoy that. And that all got a lot better when I could go to the office again, and you enjoy that sense of community, and you find out, oh, everybody feels like this is tough. And at some point, you also realize, oh, it's not just me just doing stuff. It's everybody's just doing stuff and trying to make it work. And so after a couple of months, that felt a lot better. And then a couple of months after that, we could go to the clients again, and that was also a really fun experience because like this whole consulting walk and talk and the way people do things, I wasn't used to that yet. So I remember like being at a major bank, and we had like a lunch with the CFO and the CEO, and it was kind of this lunch type of meeting. And all these sandwiches came in on a trolley, and everybody got one. And I remember it being one of those big buns. So I was used to like uh, grabbing that with two hands and then squishing it such that it would fit in my mouth. And then while I was doing that, I just looked left and right, and I saw the CEO and the CFO and the partner from my company just all eating that with knife and fork. And I was like, oh yeah, of course I should have done this with knife and fork. I'm not a student anymore. Yeah,
Oh my god. Oh wow, that's so funny. Yeah. Honestly, personal opinion, I hate lunch
yeah.
meetings because I swear nobody actually eats.
Yeah, or they're like really good at eating cleanly, but I'm not. Like stuff always drops on my suit and whatever. Like, yeah.
It's ridiculous, honestly. And sometimes they get really yummy things. You know what bugs me? And side note for the podcast, but if they order something like lamb chops or chicken
Oh yeah,
wings, and I'm like, I really want to grab a chicken wing or something, and like they just don't eat it well. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
it's so stressful. But yeah, no, it's really cool that you got the client experience, you got to go into the
yeah.
office. And that was that for your first job. At what point did you kind of decide like, hey, this is cool, but it's time to start applying for something else and move on? How long did you stay there?
So I stayed there for almost 4 years, and I think about
Oh,
after 2 years, I was like, I'm not gonna do this forever. And a really interesting thing happened then because, like as I told you at the start, I was still sometimes a bit insecure, and I really wanted to succeed within the company. And I looked up to more senior people at that point. But as soon as I started realizing this is not forever and I don't have to succeed here, I started prioritizing way better. So I really started thinking about, okay, what is actually necessary to get this assignment done? And I didn't do all the unnecessary fluff because I was just kind of insecure about like getting a good result. Um, and then sometimes I would also say to my manager, like, is this really needed? Because I think we only need to do A and B, and C and D are not really needed for the result. And then my managers were like, oh, that's really useful. You actually think about what you have to do rather than just doing it. And that also saved them a lot of time. And they felt like, oh, we've got a sparring partner in Tim. So actually, my results, like my performance, started doing better after those 2 years, which also meant that I was kind of enjoying it still for a while. I got some cool assignments, and so I was still in a very positive flow in consulting, um, while not really caring all that much. So that was actually the nicest period of consulting for me. Yeah.
nice. And then, like, immediately after that, that's when you quit and went to your brother's company.
Yeah, yeah. So that was yeah. At some point, I realized, okay, I do need to get on with my life, because I've said to myself this is not forever. And so then I quit like June last year. Did a month of courses for programming online. Then I went to my brother's company, in e-commerce automation, and yeah, now we're here. And then the Chartbuddy story started.
So, why chart buddy? Besides the fact that you were in consulting and charts were hard.
Yeah,
I mean, charts are hard. We get that. And then, of all the companies you could found, why was it that one?
yeah. So actually, that's a really good question. At some point I had this long list in Notion of like all these random ideas that I gathered over the years. And I just wanted to get started. And then I realized, and that's also some advice that you hear a lot from founders, is like you need to do something that you're uniquely equipped to do. And like all the other ideas on my list, they were like AI, chatbots, or whatever. I thought, yeah, I've got no experience in that. I also don't know the target audience. So I would really need to figure out what people would want in that. And this one I actually know. Like I know that consulting target audience. I know exactly that terrible grind of creating charts and how often you need to do it, and how quickly you need to be able to edit it and customize it. So I figured, okay, this is the only one that I'm uniquely able to do, and I just want to get started, so I'm going to build it now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, and a, a random question. How many business ideas are on that Notion list?
And there's about 20. Yeah, I've got it right here actually. Can have a look. Yeah, there's
Very
about
cool.
20 or something. Yeah.
Very cool. So you got 20 ideas and you picked Chartbuddy because careers are weird, and why not go from consulting to e-commerce internship to building a Chartbuddy company.
Yeah.
So you told us about a day in the life of now
Hmm.
where you kind of go into these I guess these group of entrepreneur spaces and work and code. But what was day one Chart Buddy? You've got nothing but the idea that, okay, I'm
Yeah.
starting Chart Buddy today. What did you do on that first day?
Yeah, so there's a bit of context there. Actually, my relationship and I, we broke up. So I was just looking for something to do. And I figured, okay, I can like eat a whole lot of ice cream, or perhaps I can focus on something more productive. And I had been meaning to start this thing, and I'd kind of been postponing it as well. Feeling like maybe I don't have the skills yet. Um, but that day I felt, no, I'm just going to get started. I'm going to focus all this energy on this thing and just see what happens. And then it was so quick to build an MVP, and that gave me so much dopamine hits that every day was just in my apartment. I was like, yeah, I got this feature finished, and I was just so happy to get started the next day again. That I basically did nothing but coding for like 3 months, and just living from dopamine hit to dopamine hit, from feature to feature every time. Yeah,
Wow. So, okay, that's, I mean, I guess we get dopamine from different things, but I think that's, no, it's really cool though, because you get to see something happening like, yes,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah,
working.
yeah.
Oh my God, it's working.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, that's really, really cool. So then if you're now, what are we? We're like, let's say we're 28. Oh, I'm 28. I'm
Yeah.
guessing
And
you're about the
29.
same.
Yeah.
29. So we are, let's say, 7, 8 years into our careers. Is your career now what you thought it was going to be that semester we were in ESEG?
So actually, I thought I would be one of those hotshot consulting persons forever at that point. I really looked up to that at the time. And at some point while working in consulting, you realize, yeah, it's fun, but it's also not that great. It's not that innovative. In the end, you make PowerPoint slides, and it's nice to put a conclusion in a PowerPoint deck in a really nice and concise way. But it didn't excite me anymore at some point. Um, and so I always wanted to like really build stuff and really do something cool. And I thought that would be in consulting, but actually I'm finding that in entrepreneurship much more. Um, so to conclude, like it is what I expected it to be, but just in a very different place.
That's fair enough. I mean, look, at one point I thought I was going to be, I studied economics, right? And I
Mhm.
thought, oh, I'm going to work at the World Bank or I'm going to work at IMF in
Yeah.
like a pantsuit or something. Can you imagine me at the World Bank right now? I don't know. I used to think I wanted to be this like big political science
Uh huh.
economics
Yeah.
person,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I just, yeah, I don't think that would work for me now. Like
I, I
there's no chance.
I think you are too creative and want to build stuff as well. To be honest, and there's little
Yeah,
room
so
for that in an IMF or one of those big organizations.
yeah, I know, but tell 17-year-old me that. Like I was like, yeah, I'm going to the IMF. I'm going to be Jamaica's representative to the World Bank in New York.
It is
That
cool
was
though.
all I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, I completely get that though, where once you start working in something, you realize the allure of it just isn't it. And
Exactly. Yeah.
for the for the consulting people I've talked to, you realize you either you get in, you learn what it is, and it's either you're gonna go on the path to become a partner
Hmm.
or you're just gonna get out.
Yeah.
And it's either you decide that quite early on because not everyone becomes partner, but that's kind of the only thing to strive to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And as soon as you realize that that's not your path, then you might as well just get out and find what your path is, because otherwise you're maybe wasting a little bit of your time.
Yeah. So, Tim, before we wrap
Uh
up,
huh.
I want you to tell everybody where to find ChartBuddy,
Mm.
how to sign up,
Yeah.
how to register, how to make it work, and what to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I'd love this.
give it a plug. Let's
Yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah. So you can just go to chartbuddy.io, and then there will be a button, no, a bar at the top of the page, which says "Add to Chrome" or "Add to Edge." Then you click that, and then it will install, and you'll be led through an onboarding flow, and then you've got it, and then you can open it in Google Slides on Canva and just start building. Really.
Oh, is that it? It's
Yeah,
just a Chrome
yeah, yeah,
extension.
just a Chrome extension. Yeah, you can have it installed in 2 minutes from now. Yeah. And it doesn't
And
save
then I
any of
just
your
go to
data
Canva.
in on the server side, so it's great for privacy as well, because many organizations, they don't want their data stored elsewhere. So yeah, you can just start with it straight away.
I'm going to get chartbuddy.io after this.
Nice, nice.
I mean, I'm going to. I mean, I can use it on Canva. I think that's actually a really cool one for me because, oh my God, Canva
Yeah,
and trying to console the axes and stuff like that, you cannot, as pretty as it looks, you cannot get it to do what you want it to do.
exactly. Yeah,
I really struggle.
yeah.
So no, I'm really excited for that. Tim, this is so cool. Like you going on to like found your own company, build tech, like actually building something, and you get to see it work, and that's amazing. And are you getting good feedback from clients already?
I am. Yeah, yeah. But like, and also difficult feedback, to be honest, because sometimes you put like 2 weeks into something and it kind of works, and then a new client says, "Oh no, but it should be the complete other way around," and you're like, "Oh, this is so tough." Like the other client said this, and how do I balance all these wishes for the product? So it's really tough in that way too, as well. But step by step, you progress, and sometimes it's um, 2 steps forward, 1 steps back, but in the end, I'll get there.
Yeah, I'm actually, you know what, while I've got you, because I think this is a really hard question for entrepreneurs. You've put a lot of heart and energy into building a product, right?
Yeah.
And then it's now up to you as founder, you're founder, but as top of founder, you're also CEO,
Yeah.
correct?
Mhm.
Well, you're probably CEO, COO,
Yeah, I'm
CFO,
everything.
CMO,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right? Which means you've now built this, and then it's up to you to value the product and put a number on it. How have you found the process of actually like finding out how to price something like
yeah.
this?
So actually, I launched it last month, and it's still in beta phase. So I'm just testing with beta users, and so I haven't had to put a price on it yet. The way I'm gonna go about it, though, is probably name different prices to different people, see who actually buys it for that price, and then kind of gauge whether that works, and look at competitors. So there's other types of extensions. Typically, they go for like $10 per seat per month. So it'll probably be something like that.
Okay, so you've done your research on that, and then I mean, yeah, you just kind of have to get over the. I know it's so hard sometimes to be like, oh, I don't want to charge for it,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like, you kind of just got to get over it and do it.
exactly. Yeah.
And then, you're doing all the marketing for it yourself as well, and all the design.
Yeah, yeah. And actually, like, it turns out you need to do marketing. Like, I was kind of like, I'll just design it in a really nice way, and I'll code it in a really good way, and the users will follow. Um, yeah, super naive, super naive. Um, and like, I shared it on LinkedIn, and everybody was just like liking it, and so I thought, okay, users will follow. But people were liking it because they were happy for me that I created a product, not because they were interested in that product per se. Like, it didn't solve a problem for everyone. So now I need to do content marketing, SEO, all of that, and that's a whole new world. And I've really got a lot of respect for marketeers now because I know the grind now.
Are you learning all of that stuff on your own,
Yeah, yeah, I
the
am.
SEO and stuff and that?
Yeah.
How are you doing it?
Um,
YouTube University or what?
Yeah, so I went to an indie hacker meetup the other day. So there's indie hackers. They're basically the solo entrepreneurs putting out products by themselves, and basically they all said, yeah, do this course, do that course, and use this platform, use that platform. So I'm just doing what they told me, but I haven't quite figured it out. But it's really nice that there's communities like that where people tell you the tips and tricks, because otherwise it would have taken much longer.
Okay, well, I'm going to need you to give me all of that because I'm kind of like you, where for me personally, to come and record an episode of Careers Are Weird and put the podcast out
Hmm.
and edit it, look, amazing, let's go, no problem. This episode will be out every Wednesday, no problem. For me to go on Instagram and market this thing,
Hmm.
oh my
Yeah,
God, it's like pulling teeth.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah,
hard. So I'm coming to you to actually share those things with me because SEO, like that's a foreign language to me.
yeah.
I know economics and fish right now. So no,
You're going
that's
to.
really cool. But yeah, no, being a CEO and founder is the steepest learning curve
Yeah,
ever. So
definitely. Yeah.
super proud of you. Massive props. And honestly, yeah, careers are weird because econometrics and philosophy to tech company to consulting to e-commerce internship to Chartbuddy boss.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's a very strange story, but I'm loving it.
its careers are
Yeah,
weird.
yeah.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. Tim, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the podcast and share your super, weird career with the whole audience. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
I hope so. Oh my God. Careers are weird, fam. I'm going to link up everything for Tim, his LinkedIn, chartbuddy.io. You can go to chartbuddy.io and get the Chrome extension and start testing it out and playing it around. Just, guys, if there are tools to make your life at work easier and you find out about them, use them because what are you doing? Spending what? 10 hours making charts? Come on.
I love it.
Just
Thank
get,
you.
yeah, no, honestly. So I'm going to link all of that up. LinkedIn, Instagram, you know it. Follow Tim, follow chartbuddy.io. Of course, like, follow, subscribe the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And until next Wednesday, stay weird and stay ambitious, my friends.
Woo!